I think one of the things that I'd like to do is I would like to bring your attention to um, the idea of context. And I'd like to do that. I'd like to do so for the reason that I'd also like us to engage in Q&A. As we draw this reflection to a close, I'd like you to consider two things here. The picture that you see on your screen is the picture of a motor show. These happen in Munich and Geneva. What happens is motor manufacturers come here and they show their wares. What started to happen here is that this was working really well for brands such as Nissan, as an example, and it wasn't working so well for brands like Bentley. What would happen is that a Bentley and a Nissan would be next to each other. A Bentley would be 3 times the price of the Nissan, but the 0 to 100 speed would be similar, if not the same. People would look at this and conclude that, well, a Nissan is a great car and a Bentley is not such a great car. This happened because of the context that people were exhibiting these in. What happened was Bentley decided to leave these environments. And what they decided to do is they decided to exhibit at air shows. These are shows where people are looking at buying Lear jets, are looking to buy Gulfstreams, they're looking to buy private jets. And the price tags here are somewhere between $5 and $25 million and above. One of the things that happens that once you've been looking around at a Lear jet for the morning, when you go to start leaving the air show, one of the things that you see is a $250,000 Bentley starts looking like an impulse buy. It's one of those things that starts to resemble the chocolate, in the checkout part of the supermarket when you leave. One of the things there is that the context that the Bentley was now exhibiting in changed how people perceived it and its value and its price. And one of the things that I would encourage you to do is to take a look at the context in which your environment, in which you're undertaking your business activities, and see if the environment is conducive. A move of just the environment from one to another might be a real difference in how the outcomes of your business ventures are. This is true, of course, of the coffee stakes as well. I'm not sure how many of you are coffee drinkers here, and I hope not too many, but one of the things I'd like to point out is that Nescafe is a Nestle brand and Nespresso is a Nestle brand. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Nespresso is the 33rd billion-dollar brand that Nestle has built. It's interesting to note that they know exactly how to do the supermarket part of this. If you are feeling in the mood for an experiment, one of the things I encourage you to do is to empty out an espresso coffee cup, buy Nespresso pods, and scoop out the coffee in the pods and try and fill up a jar of Nespresso. If you do that in South African rands, the idea here would be that a Nescafe jar of coffee would be around 120 rand. If you had to scoop out Nespresso pods into the same jar, it would be somewhere between 480 and 600 rand, depending on which coffees you've chosen. I think what you're starting to see is that if they had placed Nespresso in a jar alongside Nescafe, that would have been defeating for their aims for the Nespresso coffee brand. So what they did is they put them in boutiques, like you can see on the other side of the screen, where there's nothing else to distract you. It's just you, the experience, and the coffee. And in that context, you are apt to make the decision that Nespresso is hoping for. I say this to say that it is another demonstration of how it is that your context can change the outcomes of the business that you have. The thing that I would like to leave with you is that no matter what is taking place in business, there are always a number of irritations, always a number of challenges, always a number of problems that look like there are things that are intangible, like the wind, but also not easily usable. And yet we see that over the span of time, no matter what happens, the business-minded, the entrepreneurial, the ones that have the right perception will always use those things in order to be able to get value out of those things. The wind being a prime example, whether you're in aviation, whether you are Boeing, whether you are, Rwanda Air, whether you are in Formula One, whether you are in Sail GP, there is considerable value that you now glean from being able to tame the wind. Everyone who also does renewable wind production does the same thing. These annoyances need to be tackled, not by wishing them away, but by trying to find a higher power. When you try to find the higher power, always try to connect yourself to the why. And also to remember that many of the remaining issues, like context, like storytelling, like the story brand concept that I was trying to bring across, sit in the realm of the psychological, they sit in the realm of the intangibles. But like you saw in the significant object study, there is a real dollar-based value to using them that moves your business outcomes from $1.28 to $36. And if you use those types of insights, I believe that you'll find that you are able to harness the opportunities that other people look at and walk past, and that the opportunities that you're presently busy with, if you can inject this intangible power, you will find that they will work much better for you. So I hope that that helps you with a number of ways to look at business and entrepreneurship in a way that you might not have before, maybe in a way that you may not have considered, but I hope that it is hugely useful to the things that you are thinking about doing. And I would be very happy to take some questions about these thoughts if there's still time. Thank you so much for your attention. And yeah, I look forward to hearing your thoughts.